Hello everybody and welcome along to the first major endurance race of 2022 across the RSL network, and thanks to our very good friends at Creventic. It is the 24H series and the Hankook 24 Hours of Dubai. What a beautiful place to start. We're back on site and with at least some of our team and ready to get going for the first of two qualifying sessions. We will have the night practice coming as well. It's going to be another busy year for 2022. We start here in the United Arab Emirates, and again, a season that is spreading itself through Europe with the 6-hour race of Abu Dhabi. Not part of the championship, that's next weekend. That will be running at Yas Marina. Then we're back to Europe in the middle of March, 25th and 26th for the 12 hours of Michelot. Then to a 12 hours at Spa-Francorchamps over the weekend of the 22nd to the 24th of April. Then we're off to Germany for the Hockenheim Ring, 13th to the 15th of May. Very busy weekend around the world of endurance racing that weekend. 24 hours of Portimao, 8th, 9th and 10th of July at the Autodromo Internacional de Algarve. Barcelona is the second of the 24-hour races in Europe. That's the 9th, 10th and 11th of September. And after a brilliant inaugural event last year, the 24 Hours of Sebring is back on the calendar, the 18th, 19th and 20th of November. So something I think for an awful lot of people to get excited about with that calendar. And if the entry here is anything to go by, we've had over 80 entries here. It's looking to be a bumper season for 2022. So coming up, we have two qualifying sessions, one for the TCE part of the race and one for the GTs, of course. So just waiting for the final preparations to take place. Burj Al Arab in the distance from us, from our lofty position on top of the grandstand to drivers left across the start-finish line. Let me introduce, first of all, before we go down to the pits, let me introduce the second voice in the booth here. And we've gone right to the very top here, a gentleman who has seen all bar, I think, 2 of the races here for what is now the Hankook 24 Hours. He has been on site for all bar 2 of them, I should say. He is also the voice of Formula 1 in this region, and he's been a good friend to us for many years and helped us out here at the Dubai Autodrome. Welcome to the airwaves of Radio Show Limited and to the Hankook 24 Hours, to Phil Anson. Hello, Phil.
Hello, John. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Dubai. A beautiful sunny day greets the teams as they make their way down pit lane for this 3-part qualifying session. Now, this is new in regards to 3 different drivers will take part in this qualifying session for each car. A 15-minute session for each one. We have got 19 cars in the TCE category. We have 8 TCR cars and 11 of the TCX cars, this, what I'm thinking, John, this is also a balance of performance thing, because you're giving 3 drivers the opportunity to, you know, you've got to maybe have your lead driver, your second driver, somebody who's a guest driver. Everybody gets to qualify, but it's the amalgamation of all of the times that is going to set their grid position for the race starting at 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. And yeah, this is new, so it's all part of Creventic just moving the benchmarks slightly, changing things around and making it much easier for people to come here and compete in this event. And yeah, it's going to be pretty, the siren sounds and we are underway with our first 15-minute session.
And down in the pit lane, it would not be the Dubai 24 without Nick Damon with us. Hello, Nick.
Hello, John. Hello, everyone. It's marvellous to be back in the sun, as you can see. Now, you can't tell under the mask, but I'm smiling broadly to go back in the pit lane of the fabulous Dubai Autodrome for the Hankook 24 Hours. Lots has already happened, even though this is kind of the start of the weekend. Should we go through it now, John?
Good idea. let's catch everybody up.
If we get Seb to see right back at the back of the garage there, there's a little shiny light. That shiny light belongs to the 103 ppm Passion Performance motorsport car. Now, yesterday, that was involved in a very, very nasty accident with, well, almost the car you think about when you think about preventing racing, the 91 Herberth Porsche. They came together, I think, going into turn 10. Massive accident. Daniel Ellerman in the 91 ended up upside down and turned over at one point, and that car is written off and scratched. There will be no 91 Herberth car here this weekend. Amazing. The 103, also seriously damaged, does look like they've managed to repair it. So that means we've lost the 91 from the initial list, 103 okay. Also, within the TCE class, the 199, which was the AC Motorsport RS3, well, I had to look at that a while ago, that is now significantly shorter than it should be, and that's also not taking place. That was the car that had Ricky Kuma and Stephen Licorice in the car. They actually scratched last night. So we had 82 on the entry this morning. We've lost the 91. We think we've got 81. The 451, the BMW had a little bit of an accident this morning, but not repairable. So 81 cars starting. But the key story is previous winners. Herberth Motorsport with the 91, they've gone.
That wasn't the only Porsche, thank you, Nick, that had problems, because there was a second Porsche, Phil, that has had two issues.
Yes.
And already, in fact, are on their second chassis. What was all that about?
Yeah, the 977 Porsche, we saw that come in yesterday with broken front suspension. On Monday at a free practice session, they wrote their original car off after clipping the curb at turn 2 and then hitting the wall head on between 2 and 3 on driver's left. And the car was written off. They bought a new car on Tuesday. They bought it out yesterday. The same driver that planted it into the wall caused the accident yesterday as well. They repaired that car. I spoke to Sayed Al-Mahiri, who is the 5th driver for that team, and he said, yeah, we got it back. We're going to be back out and running today. But boy, what a start.
That's the Rabadam Motorsport by ID Racing car. There's a Craig David song in there, isn't there? You know, wrote it off on Monday, bought a new car on Tuesday.
Yeah.
He went and did the same on Wednesday, fixed it on Thursday and raced it on Friday and Saturday, Sunday.
Indeed it is.
You can tell it's the start of a new season and we're all a bit cabin crazy, cabin fever.
Sally Racing on team at the moment, 219 car. Peter O'Bell, Henrik Thompson, Niles Eric Nobai and Morten Eriksson taking that Seat Lance Cupra DSG as the team, all from Denmark. One of the Danish contingent, very strong Danish contingent here this weekend, and enjoying the sunshine coming from the snow-ridden ground in that country.
Listen, everybody's enjoying it, Phil. We were at the Welcome Barbecue, which is another tradition here. Last night, we were watching them set up the nighttime grid shot, which was absolutely stunning to see 80-plus cars sitting there on the grid. And the thing that came through, undoubtedly for me, was just the sheer joy of people being back at a racing circuit. It was all pervading, wasn't it? We talked to Gary Willems, one of the preventing organisers, just before this session, and he said it's been remarkable. We've not had a single complaint about anything. I mean, give it time, because it's a motor racing it's a motor racing event. So, you know, there will be people who will have issues at some stage, but I understand what he means. People are just happy to be here.
Well, they are indeed, and we see that from because everybody was eating last night and the masks were off, and we saw smiles. We had smiles there, and getting a grid of 80 to start with at any time during a pandemic or post-pandemic is a huge task in itself, and getting everything here with a global logistics challenge, wow, well done to Creventic.
Well, if you're not used to what we do here in the 24-hour series by Hankook, this is the TCE part of the race, the touring car part of the race. 111 just off at turn 1. That's Fabian Dance for the Autorama Wolf Power Volkswagen Golf in a new colour scheme there for them. Normally black and white, those cars, purple and white, and that was a lock-up going into turn 1, that tricky downhill braking area, maybe cold rear Hankook tyres just contributing to that. But we've effectively got two races in one, with a class structure within each part of the race. So TCE are touring cars and one or two interlopers, the TCX cars. We've got the Lamera GTs in there, we've got the Gt2 G55, and we've got the Ligier Gs2R, as well as a BMW M2, one of the 450 horsepower cars as well. That's one of the Club Sport machines. We've got a couple of those, in fact, in there. So there's a couple of different categories, but the majority are TCR cars, which, again, it's a global formula. The Lamera, by the way, the 222, just going through into turn 3 there, the black with the big purple star on the side. Good looking little car, that sort of reminds me of if a Ford Puma, an Audi TT got together,
and a Lotus at the back,
and a little bit of a Lotus.
Yes, I think so. I think we've married them.
There's been a bit of DNA splicing between those. So the TCRs, of course, that's a global formula. Have to be front-wheel drive, have to be 4 or 5 doors, and they all run a 2-litre turbocharged engine from the manufacturer. It's pretty highly BOP'd, so there's no real massive advantage to which car you take. Although the Audi, many will say that the Audi, which is the only car that is based on a sedan rather than a hatchback, has a slight aerodynamic advantage with that notchback.
Yes,
Audi,
possibly.
Yeah, Audi took a big look at that to see what was the opportunity. So that's what we're watching at the moment, and these are the qualifying times that are going in. And as Phil mentioned, we have seen this before in 24H racing, where all drivers, or at least 3 of the named drivers, have got to go out and set a time in this session.
I think it's a really good thing because it is a balance of performance for the grid. We have balance of performance in other ways with fuel loads and driver time limits, etc., etc. And I see what Creventic do here. They try and keep the mechanical balance of performance to an absolute minimum. The reason is cost. And so you take balance of performance and you put it in driver time, you put it in fuel loads, and you put it in various small things that don't cost the teams anything. And it then makes it much more attractive to go racing. And especially with the TCR cars, they're a global phenomenon now, and very impressed with what they've been able to achieve, and putting a championship together with TCR, and now including the TCX category. As Creventic have always said, if you build a car, we'll make a category for it, and they have done here, especially with the Ligiers being out there. Lovely looking car as well. I'd never thought I'd say Ligier at a Creventic event.
Well, they've been following them for a little while. We've had the GS2 R in before. Ligier have been a support series for Creventic and had a cracking race, particularly I think last year Johnny and I called the race at Barcelona for them. Thoroughly enjoyed that. 111 in the pit lane.
Fabian Dan's at the wheel.
That car having had that spin.
And a bit of a mirror missing on there. Bit of aerodynamic gone away from the left-hand mirror. Just the covering has been removed.
I'm guessing that was the reverse aero when he spun it.
Yes, I think it may
down
well
at turn
been
1.
Down into turn 1.
It's one of the Lamera GTs that's top of the shop at the moment with a 2 minutes 9.544. Now, thanks to timeservice.nl, we will get averages that run through this as well. I do remember the first time the WEC did this at Silverstone a few years ago, and we weren't quite set up for that. And Johnny Palmer and I were actually working it out in our heads, and we did manage to get the right order of the cars, which was pretty remarkable. Gregory Fargier has done the first session for the Lamera GT team, number 222. It's Marlon Menden in second for Autorama Motorsport by Wolfpower in one of their 2 Audis, cars rather. That is the Audi rather than the Volkswagen that we saw spinning. They've got 2 VWs and 1 Audi. The Django Motorsport 133 car is without fire in its engine at the moment, and that is the Cupra DSG with the Nob Ducos Kisma behind the wheel of Django.
Yeah, not sure if that rear left is looking particularly good at this stage. Just trying to see if he's got a deflating tyre or not. Taking the shortcut, possibly, just getting out of the way of everybody. There is a shortcut back to the paddock. You're not supposed to use it, but you can use it. There you can see on the front of the Ligier JS2 of Steve Zaki in there, the new numbering system that you'll see this weekend, and there's quite a bit to go on that because there's an in-car system as well.
Yeah, they've got the flag in the cab
Yep.
from the new supplier.
Yeah,
On the top right of the windscreen, for those of you watching around the world, obviously if you're listening on RS1 at the moment, we'll do our best to describe that, but it cycles between a 3-letter identifier from of the driver, its class, or it's part of the race, should I say, which it will be yellow for everything you see in this early part, and then it'll be white for later on, and also it'll then have class and overall positions as well.
Quite a lot of information going on there. It's a LumiRank display system, really, I think it's the in-car one that I'm really happy about, because now everybody will get the code 60 at exactly the same time, not somewhere between marshal points. And it's more for when the code 60 goes away and the green flag comes out, whereas you've got cars accelerating near a marshal post that see the green flag, but cars without marshal post in sight not accelerating. We have a disparity of speed that can sometimes be up to 100 kilometres an hour, especially here at the Autodrome, where sometimes the marshal posts are around a corner. So yeah, interesting to do that and bring that on board. It's going to make it much more even for restarts after code 60s, but hopefully we won't have any, he says quietly.
I like your optimism.
No, you've got to be optimistic. It's the first round of the year.
Yeah, the Gt2 car, as we were talking about earlier, the Cupra, the 133, is the... we did this before. This is a Croatian team.
Yep.
And it is properly pronounced Zenka, in fact. And it's the highest mountain in southern Hungary. It's 682 metres. So
okay.
Zenka is the proper way. I need to say that.
And we've had Zengo Motorsport here before. They ran a Suzuki Swift Cup class here back in the early 2010, I think it was. Drove one of those cars. Zengo been here for a long time.
At RSL_studio, if you want to get in touch with us. And hello to Sarah Rigby, who is in Crewe in the northwest of England, home of Bentley Motors, of course. Oof. She's saying so good to hear us again. Indeed, a happy new year. Stay safe and remember how good it felt being trackside once again. Has been very good indeed. The triple, that's the triple one, again, which is
5.
Fabian Dance is locking up rear tyres. It does have a bit of a rake in that Golf.
It does.
But you do, I mean, it's a front-wheel drive car, Phil. What do you have the rear touring cars? Martin Haven, our good friend, who is the voice of world touring cars and has been for many, many years, among other things. He always says the rear wheels on a touring car is only to stop the exhaust scraping the ground.
There he goes again.
I think he's got a brake balance problem.
He's got a bias issue. He's just locking up that inside left all the time as he's trying to make his way back to the pits, coming past one of the cars that is just either trying to get back to the pits or has done their fast lap. We're under 1 minute to go in this first of 3 sessions.
And unusually, it is not Autorama at the top of TCR. We've got 2 TCX cars, so Greg Fagier in the Lamera, and then the 2 trees, Le Deux Arbres, that is the Ligier, of course, Steve Zakia behind the wheel of that. The first of the TCRs is a DSG Cupra from BBR, and Kantahi Kuzuri behind the wheel.
Yeah, indeed. We're following the 207. That's a nice looking car, isn't it? That 207 around there at the moment as the 116 is into pit lane. I think that will be the end of their session. We're going to see the checkered flag in about 10 seconds time. Just keeping an eye on the countdown going on down below me on the start-finish straight for the checkered flag to be deployed in this session. And we have a 5-minute interval. Checkered flag is now being shown on the start-finish straight. A 5-minute interval. They will change drivers and then head out, probably change tyres and head out and off go again for their second of their 15-minute sessions. Once again, all the sessions that will be amalgamated and then it'll be the time.
Apologies, I think I moved Zenka Racing from Hungary to Croatia there, or the other way around. But it is absolutely Hungary, a
Yes.
Hungarian team, and that is the name of the mountain in southern Hungary. As I did say that bit right, I don't know where I got the Croatian bit from, so my apologies.
It is the first race of the season, John.
Yeah.
That's bad.
Hello to the racing blog. Off-season, what off-season? Racing in January? Yes, please. Well, been doing it since 2004 in these parts. This is the 11th race and the 10th year of coverage from Radio Show Limited. And to my right, Phil Hansen has been at every race since he arrived in these parts in September 2005. So he saw his first race here in 06. Do you remember who won in 06?
Yeah,
Without
Toto,
looking it up?
yeah, Toto Wolff ran in a BMW,
Well
dressed in a Red Bull racing suit. There you go. If you want to
How
have that,
times
driving
changed.
a BMW Z3, I think it was at the time.
He had a pretty decent set of teammates, if memory
He
serves.
did indeed. He is in the book here this weekend. But boy, yeah, a lot of very good teammates back in the day, very early on. Interesting race there. There was nothing around this circuit, by the way, nothing at all on the circuit. And there's Dieter Questa, Hans Joachim Stuck, Philip Wetter and Toto Wolff. Not a bad little, and that was an M3 E46
Was that
GTR.
Duller? Was that Duller Motorsport? Yes, it was.
Yes, at Duller Motorsport.
Duller Motorsport won everything in those days.
Well, they won the next
Mid-2000s.
year as well. Toto wasn't driving because obviously he had other things to do in 2007. But in 2006, at Duller Motorsport, Herberg Motorsport second, and AC Bratislava, a name we've seen many times here as well in their Porsche GT3.
Here's the provisional results after the start of the qualifying for TCE. We gave you the top three. They haven't changed. It's Autorama and the number 116 car, Marlon Menden, who is in fourth position. So that's second in TCR. Third in TCR, AC Motorsport with their 188 car. Yannick Mettler did the first stint in their Audi. Then it is Fabian Dance, notwithstanding his braking issues. He was fourth in TCR. Jonas Holmgaard for Holmgaard Motorsport, another VW in fifth. And in sixth, Gustavo Xavier for Autorama in their third car. That's the other Golf. And in TCX is the top two, the Lamera number 222 and the 202 Le Deux Arbres. The Ligier in third. In TCX is another Ligier. That is CTF. Fourth, Autos Racing, another Ligier. Fifth, in TCX, the BMW C2, M2, Yeti Racing, and in sixth in TCX, Lamera GT Lux for Sebastian Guignard. Nick Damon down in the pit lane. Where are you, Nick?
I'm with the man who topped Sector 1. It's Gregory Fargier from the 222 TCX Lamera.
Yeah.
Gregory, talk us through your very short bit of qualifying.
Yeah, it's very short because we have only 15 minutes as the three drivers, and we have to add the best 3 laps of the 3 drivers. So for the moment, we are very happy because the car is very good, very easy to drive, and quite efficiency. So we are, for the moment, P1, but we have to wait for the next driver and the third driver.
So who of your team will be doing Sector 2 and Sector 3?
Yeah.
Who will it be?
Sorry?
Who will it be?
Where will be?
Which drivers will do the next 2?
Okay, next driver is Wilfried Merafina. He's a very good driver and the boss of the Lamera team. And the third driver is Pierre Coinon. It's a very good driver too, so we hope, we cross finger, and we hope we will get the pole position.
What's the secret of why this Lamera works so well around here?
Because in fact it's very simple car. Not so technological, difficult to set up and to tune and everything. The weight is quite good, the engine is quite good, and it's very easy to drive. And when a car is easy to drive, maybe it's not the most performant, but it's very safe for the driver. We have a lot of confidence in the car, and so it's easy to go fast.
And fast you went. Thanks, Gregory. Good luck for the rest of the session.
Thanks a lot. Thank you. Bye.
Nick Damon down there in the pit lane. Our coverage coming to you from our Haggerty Global Broadcast Centre, and Phil and me watching down as the siren goes off for the second part. Hello to Dave Goddard, who's tuned in at RSL_studio. Hello to Phil Kinch, happily watching from Northampton, looking forwards to the progress of a certain World Touring Car Race winner and King of Macau. Did somebody... is there someone called Huff Sport in the 116 Audi? Yes, very good. And also to Ian McCarthy. I feel we're going to learn much more about Zenga Racing than we perhaps even needs to be honest. The true story regarding the name of the mountain, but I'm pretty certain the team is named for its founder, Zoltán Zenga, tweeting from their homeland in Hungary, where it's considerably more chilly, but just as sunny. Hashtag this is endurance, says Ian. Hello, Ian. Nice to have you on board and watching as the second drivers are going out. Not entirely certain you can afford to wait too long with just 15 minutes on the clock. It's around about a 2-minute 10, 2-minute 15 lap time here. So you're only going to get, after a reasonable out lap, probably 5 laps, maybe 6 of full speed laps. These Hankook Slick Racing tyres, and hello to the whole team from Hankook. So that Marvin Sandbichler last night, he's sporting his usual sunny disposition. And these Hankook race tyres are very, very good indeed. And in fact, drivers will tell you that you do have to be a bit careful early on, because they give you so much confidence, even before you get up to temperature and pressure, that it's easy actually to damage them on any curbs before you've got enough heat into them. So it normally takes a couple of laps. Now the good news here, Phil, and you've driven more laps around here than certainly I have, and probably more than most of the field, I would think. There's quite a lot of the curbs here that are pretty flat.
Yes, indeed. And they like the curb coming out of turn 9 where the 207 Ligier is at the moment. And you get a lot of latitude. I raced the Hankook tyres here in the touring car category here. They don't fall off a cliff, okay? They give you a lot of confidence. They don't fall off a cliff like other race tyres. They give you a lot of warning, which is beautiful for an endurance car when you're out there for an hour, hour 15. Some of these cars will run 90 minutes in between pit stops. So we've got Michael De Costa at the wheel of the Euros Racing Ligier at the moment, setting out to set their time. We had a few cars in that first round. We didn't have cars that either got but they haven't posted any laps on there at the moment. So we saw Zengo Motorsport out there, but they've got no time respective against their name. So and what's going on? The drivers switch the driver transponder over, because that will tell us who's in the car, and you've got a little bit of time to do that. Otherwise, race control will send you a nasty letter in order to do that. So we're just waiting for the timing screen to give us all of the drivers who are out there.
Yeah, the cars that didn't set times, Zenga Motorsports Cupra 133. We didn't get a time for the PPM Passion Performance Cupra, the 103, and the CTF Performance Ligier didn't get a time. Now they're showing as non-starters, but I'm pretty certain we did actually see the 133 Zenga Motorsport car out on the track. But as Phil says, if you've had a couple of laps deleted,
you won't get a time for the first one, which means that they will give you basically the way that this works. If you don't do all of the sessions, there is a formula that they use to work out your benchmark time. I would go into it, but I forgot my abacus and I don't have a lot of fingers. But Creventic, as always, have this covered in their massive documents that we get sent, which
all
is
available
fantastic.
online as well, by the way.
Exactly, unbelievable stuff to provide us with a lot of information. And as Shay's mum always says, information is power.
Information is power. Yep, Diane Magnum. I should say, amongst the downloadable items, or viewable items online, and obviously you're all, unless you're here at the track on the PA, you're all listening online or watching online, is the absolutely outstanding event program. There are printed versions here for those of you at the track,
pages,
and it's all online in glorious Technicolor, including a look back at the decade of involvement by Radio Show Limited by Joe Bradley, who's the normal correspondent for Behind the Garage Door. So a bit of a special one on that, and we've roped in some of the voices from the past, including Jim Rawler.
Yep.
Paul Trustwell's had a word as well. Paul's here actually this weekend once again.
Hello, Paul.
Moving into his strategist role. I'm not certain, but I think this was the first. This might have been the first race where he did that officially and professionally a few years ago.
I remember that. Yes, he did tell me that. I met him in the pits, and as I was doing my other duties at the time, and I met him in the pits, and he said, I said, yeah, up in the booth, and he goes, no, I'm working with the team this year doing their strategy. Who better to get to do strategy than the man who has a brain the size of a planet?
Yeah.
And as we have commonly mentioned, I used to sit in this room in awe of what he used to do over in what I call the Porsche Corner, which is
just to your right from
just
where
to
you're
my
sitting
right,
now,
where
yeah.
I'd set all his screens up for him and just watch in awe as he pretty much 99.87% got every strategy call right. Have no idea how he did it. None whatsoever. 8:30 to go in this session.
He would say it was just deduction and following the data, but I'm not sure that does him
He was
any
doing it
justice
on Excel
whatsoever.
spreadsheets.
When I first met him, he was doing lap charts on pieces of paper, which he never kept, but he did keep the exercise books, and he's got all of those from Le Mans.
Oh, wow.
And quite remarkably, I think I might have said 199 earlier on. Did I actually mean 188?
Possibly 188.
Yes.
Yeah.
The AC Motorsport car.
Yeah.
That is back out on the track, the
Yes.
AC Motorsport car.
It is indeed.
But I'm not sure whether they had one or two, but my entry list doesn't have a 199 on it, but that maybe was scratched yesterday because that only came out this morning.
It did
I'll
indeed.
get Nick to clarify that for you. At RSL_studio if you want to get in touch. And hello to Alexandra, welcome back. And it's a pleasure to hear Phil on the coverage, a legend of our motorsport community. That's Alexandros
Anivas, yes,
Yeah.
a Greek champion here, multiple champion in Clio Cup and in TCR around here. His dad has raced pretty much every season before COVID. I used to race with him back in the Volkswagen Golf GDA Cup days. And hello, Alex, and hello to the family. Lovely to see you.
So what version of a Golf was that then?
It was the 2006 road car with a cage bolted in on semi-slick tyres. That's it.
Excellent.
That's it.
That's what I call proper racing then.
And basically, I had no straight panels after
course not.
leaving the pits.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
For the first session.
For the first
absolutely.
session.
The Ligiers are going well. The
Yeah.
202 in the Ligier Works colours. The stripes of blue, white and red. Of course, they are the tricolour colours for France. This GS2R, really interesting machine. Been around for a couple or 3 years now, and it's Anton De Pascali who is driving the Two Trees car, Le Deux Arbres, down the back straight at the moment, 1 kilometre long, just a little rise before the braking area, and then into that bumpy braking area. And you don't have to believe me about the bumpy braking area. Number one, if you're trackside or watching, you can see the noses of the cars going, but you can also see how the bumps affect the braking efficiency, because there are already, from the early free practice and
since
testing
Monday
session,
we've been here.
Yeah, exactly. There are already stripes of Hankook rubber there on the down slopes and the up slopes of the bumps, and there's a little bit missing at the top.
Yeah, it has evolved over the year. And when I raced here in 2006, this was billiard table smooth.
Yeah.
Okay, and it's the evolution of every racetrack. When you get into a braking zone, it's going to compress the asphalt, and it's like a flat spot on a tyre. It keeps on finding that spot, and as it moves on, as we follow the 202 down into turn 16, and it's getting it down into 16 now as well on that downhill slope, which makes it really difficult through there. As another quick lap time coming your way. 209.807 is his benchmark at the moment, and he did their combined times 209.210. Did 210 in the first one. The average is 209.947.
So that is,
and it's half a second quicker than anybody else out there on average at the moment with the second drivers in car.
Well, that's interesting, isn't it? Because I wondered what the strategy would be, is who you put in when.
Yes.
Do you leave your best driver to last when the track is likely to be rubbered up and possibly, half an hour cooler as the sun's gone across its zenith now? Well, Antoine Lespegue has done a slightly slower time than his teammate in the first session, whereas Wilfried Marafina for the Lamera GT, the 222, which was fastest in the first session, he's gone a bit slower as well. So it's really interesting to see how it's going on. AC Motorsport sitting third on combined times at the moment, a 2:11.2 and a 2:11.1 in the two sessions. Now, I haven't got the driver's name on that one, so somebody's been naughty and not flicked over the driver control. I either put it on a blank one or
hasn't changed it.
Yes. Now one of the BBR drivers who's in there is I think a Thai driver.
They're all Thai drivers.
Yeah.
It's a Thai team, that one. BBR out of Thailand. Semi-pro and AM drivers in the Cooper TCR DSG. Just having a look at those. There are some names in there that I'd need a bit of a night to go through
and run at them, Phil.
Yeah, I'll take Canton T. Cursory, Cantasak Cursory. And
those are the easy ones.
They're the easy ones. I'm just getting down to
in the car at the moment is Tanart Sathin Thirakul.
Yes, I think you got that right.
Well, yeah, I did a race of champions once in the Raman Ganjala Stadium in Thailand, and the guy that everybody just calls Mad Cow out there was driving. He's actually driven the Nürburgring as well with Toyota Team Thailand, who had a very long name, and I won't go back to that.
Basically, there's 17 corners on the Nürburgring to get the name out. As we move on to 188 out there at the moment, AC Motorsport from Belgium. At this time, just looking where they are, that's what we're talking about. Not sure who is behind the wheel on that one, but Stefan Perrin, Mattia Detri, Miklas Born and Yannick Mettler driving that, an AM and semi-pro lineup. Lots of different driver types and the way that this all works, and we'll get into it a little bit more as we get towards race time, but yeah.
The driver's name that I was going to tell you about is Natavude Charansuka Watana.
Okay, they've just gone 9 corners past where he was, unfortunately. We have just over 2 minutes to go in this session, and it's the Ligier that's leading the way on average time at the moment, and doing a very nice job in the TCX.
Best in TCR, still AC Motorsport from BBR. They're separated by nothing at all, a 10th on average at the moment. Remember, 3 sessions for both TCE category cars and GT cars, and 3 drivers out of your driving setup, however many you've got. There are people who have more than 3 drivers here, but out of the roster, you need to pick 3 of them and send them out in these 3 15-minute sessions, and then it's the average of what is going. I kind of like this because
so do I.
Quite often it means that the guys who are paying the money, who are financing the team, are going to have more say in where it goes. Certainly, I know when it was criticised an awful lot in the WEC when it was brought in, and it, particularly in the GT classes where the GT AM, you had to have one of the AM drivers in the car. It actually made some of those AM drivers much better. I remember talking to some of the, and I'll say the word gentleman driver, some drivers don't like that, some drivers do, non-pro drivers, but certainly people like Ben Keating, Paul Dallalana, they never got to drive the car before that change in regulations on low fuel and new tyres.
Exactly.
It absolutely made them understand what the car could do, and therefore in a race situation, heavy car, sometimes second stint, it changed their minds. It made them better drivers, I think.
I think it did, and just following on from that, as the clock ticks down just under 30 seconds, I remember qualifying here when we used to have the all-in, Nicky Pastorelli in the Corvette, okay? He's an amazing driver, obviously, and he put it on pole, but the rest of the drivers couldn't stay with him, so he was literally out of position. After his first hour, he was there, they were nowhere. This evens that up.
Well, with 7 seconds left, Nick should be making his way down to the Ligier JS2R pit of the number 202, Le Deux Arbres, and he's going to find out whether Antoine Le Pascali can speak English, because we know that Nick he can do a French accent, but I'm not sure there's any French words.
He is fluent.
He's fluent in an awful lot. Just wait for the checkered flag to come out before we go. Nick's already down there, actually. I can see from the binoculars.
Yeah, his checkered flag is out on the start-finish line.
A couple of cars still to finish off, including Thomas Marafina in the Lamara GT Lux team. See, if you're going to be in the Lamara GT team or the Lamara GT Lux team, I'm telling you now, Damon is taking the Lux, love. Oh yes, he wants the Lux. There's no doubt on that. Just a couple of corners to go for that car. And who else? Anton Lacoste is out in the BMW M2 for the Kojimo TLRT. I don't think, looking at the splits, either of those guys.
They're not probably going to get there, are they?
Oh, it's just wait for Tanat.
49.9.
Yeah, and the 159.
Yeah.
Is he still out there? Let's nip down to Nick Damon. It's another TCX that's top of the shop here for Le Deux Arbres. Second quickest in the first of this 3-part qualifying session, but Anton De Pascali is the quickest here.
His boss is Anton De Pascali. I asked him how to pronounce his surname, which is the first thing. Anton, that Ligier looks very well sorted.
Yeah, it's not too bad. Like I must say, with 3 days of testing before, we managed to find a good setup for the car. Now everything is pretty much in line. All steady for the race, and then the performance is here in quali. So cannot complain.
So 2 drivers down. You're in pole for TCE. Sorry. Who's your third driver? Can he stay in pole?
Yeah, the third driver is Christophe Bouchu. He has a lot of experience, he's a 5-time world champion and so on. So I guess he will keep it that way, Hopefully, but normally should be.
Yeah, there's a reasonable chance, to be honest. Looking forward to the race, how are you finding the traffic round here? Obviously one of the slower cars.
Traffic is quite tough, especially for us. The car is much slower than the GT3. So we have, maybe 3 to 5 cars overtaking us every lap. So it's quite a challenge. Let's see what it gives in the night, because, with all the headlights coming our back and so on, we'll have to be careful.
Best of luck and well done for your session, Anton De Pascali.
De Pascali, okay.
Well done, Nick. And Christophe Boucher going out next. He's their one and only pro driver.
He's not going to let the side down, is he?
I don't think so. And they've got the setup right around this.
Yeah, Nick, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, I was going to ask you a positioning question. So just one thing you said during the chat, the 199 scratched last night.
Okay.
Didn't make the entry list. It was going to enter, but they had a massive accident also in that second non-official testing session.
Right.
And the car is significantly shorter than it should be, and it's gone, and the drivers have gone back to the beach. But that was such an early scratch, it didn't even make today's official entry form.
Right, thank you. So that's the 91 Herberth Porsche, absolute contender for the GT in the overall, Nick.
Yep.
And the 199 for AC, which had to have been a contender, Nick, for TCE and TCR.
Well, AC Motorsport, of course, with their other car, won at Sebring a few weeks ago, the last 24 hour. Absolutely. And the team actually looked pretty much like it was. Yeah, with TCR, you need a clean run because everyone is so close, you can't afford one problem.
Yeah.
So therefore, a lot of this, with 80-odd cars, of which 65 are faster than you, is going to be down to a bit of luck. So absolutely, any competent team, which AC Motorsport are, with a competent driver lineup, which they had, was in with a good chance. Absolutely.
And the other cars that have problems, Nick, even though they haven't necessarily been out qualifying, do we think they're coming back? There was one other Porsche.
103 is coming back.
Right, that's the Cupra that should have been out in this session from PPM Passion Performance Motorsport.
Not in this session, but having a problem earlier today, the 451, which is one of the GT4 Mercedes, that's been repaired.
Right.
Joe and I are trying to get to the bottom of this Porsche where they've written off 2 in one day. And I'm going to
one on Monday and one on Wednesday.
I'm going to leave that to Joe's session in half an hour to just finish that one off, because we had a wander around looking for dead cars earlier. That was inconclusive, but doesn't necessarily mean it isn't there.
No, all right. Thanks, Nick. Nick Damon down in the pit lane. In the Haggerty Global Broadcast Centre, it's Phil Anson and me, John Hindhoff. Now, here's a note on the screen that nobody likes to see.
Headmaster.
The 93 team manager has been called and that's the duo racing by Herbert.
Yes.
That's the GT3R, the 991 category car, with Dylan Pereira as the lead driver in there, the pro driver in that. That's a Luxembourg entered car for Dylan.
Well, Dylan raced here in the Lechner Series and then went to the World
Lechner Series.
The Lechner
that
Series.
means Porsche Carrera Cup Middle East for those of you who are not fluent in Phil speak.
Yeah, and then he went to Super Cup and did very well in there with Lechner as well. And good to see that.
I tell you what, there was some good drivers came out of that. I did the first couple of 3 years of that for the TV highlights.
Yep.
And Christina Nielsen came out of that as well. She who has gone on to be a multiple champion in IMSA competition, and hopefully see her back this year. A busy few weeks coming up with Abu Dhabi 6 hours next weekend. Then we've got the Raw and the 24 hours, the Rolex 24 hours of Daytona as well. All coming up on consecutive weekends across the Radio Show Limited network of channels. But as ever, no need to choose between what's going on. That's why we have 3 channels and multiple video feeds when there are clashes, of which there will be quite a lot this year. All right, third and final. Oof. Ding, ding. Seconds out, third and final round. It's like Olympic boxing here.
It is, indeed.
13 and a half minutes to go. At the moment, it is the Ligier from the Lamera, from the second Ligier from CTF in TCX, in TCR the Audi of AC, from BBR's Cupra, from the Audi of Autorama, and Rob Huff is taking the final qualifying session. Now, so who was it who was saying earlier on to us, it was Phil Kinch, wasn't it, who's sitting in Northampton? Well, Phil, you're absolutely right. Rob is in that car and he's about to take it out. The man who came out of the Seat series in the UK that was televised, that got him a professional drive, and he has made the most of that.
He is no stranger to this circuit either. He's been down there. I've seen him in the pits on track days. Okay, so he's been down.
Is he based out here now?
No, he comes out here and visits. He has some business interests in the region. So it's been great to see him out, and also wonder who's that bearded gentleman I've just passed on track who's just overtaken me, because I was on a flying lap and he was warming up and he's still a lot faster. And then you come back into the pits and you go, okay, that's Huffy. Yeah, okay, we'll leave that one alone.
Likes his American V8 as well.
He
drove a Corvette in the UK for quite some time on the road. So keep an eye on that. The times for that number 116, all available via 24h-series.com, and you can see the same timing screens that we are. Some enhanced features for you as well this year.
Yeah, it's getting very, very technical. I have to sit down and look at it, but the information you get these days from these timing systems and from what we do here, it has been accelerated by COVID.
Yeah, true.
Because of necessity. And now we are putting on stuff that we didn't think technically was possible for another 5 to 6 years. Yeah. So enjoy it. It's here. And we're following the 202 car around there at the moment. Christophe Bouchot is at the wheel. They have basically...
That's another big name.
And there you go. And he's their pro driver. Now, pro drivers in these categories have hour limits that they're only allowed to do a maximum of 50% of the race, you know. And depending on the pro-ams are free, and the AMs have to do minimum times. So you have a minimum and a maximum time for the top and bottom category. The pro-ams get everything. And so we've got scrutineering for car 116, 159 and 188 after the session. So they've already been called in to get their numbers checked and everything else checked, so that because this is a qualifying session, even though it seems a bit strange that we keep on having breaks. But I think Creventic have hit the nail on the head again with looking at other series of what they do and then moulding it to fit their series, to giving people track time and giving more drivers track time, who, especially those drivers, as you said, who pay for the privilege to come here and drive the cars. It's a great incentive once again, as the 208 goes up into second position. That's the 111 car, Autorama by Motorsport. Paul Serge is at the wheel of that, and that's the top TCR car at the moment, Volkswagen Golf GTI. TCR positions changing a lot now as everybody's getting up to speed. Just under 10 minutes to go.
So Christophe Boucher with the fastest time, and that isn't the quickest time we've seen today.
Huffy second.
Huffy goes up into second, and that's good enough for provisional pole for TCR.
Oh, wow. That's
so
quick.
that is a change. So Autorama with that 2:09.8, which is as quick as we've seen any car go in this session. The Ligier did a 2:09.8 last time around, last session, should I say. So that's very impressive by Huffy. He's done the outright quickest Sector 1 in a TCR. Now, that doesn't surprise me. We were talking about this when we were heading off for lunch, Phil, weren't we?
Yeah.
Just how much aero and how good through the twisties the TCR cars are. The traditional black and purple colours. Do you remember those licorice and rhubarb boiled sweets that you used to get, or licorice and something else that were the black and purple? Always reminds me of the SA. Rhubarb, of course, it's different. Yes. So Huffy has done what he was sent out to do in the 1:16. Oh, hang on, another change because the Lamera's gone up to second. Pierre Cuanon in the Lamera with a 2:10. Now you see, the problem for Huffy is he can only do so much. His team car drivers, a 2:10.7 and a 2:12.2. So Huffy, if he's going to squeak back onto the front row and break up the TCXs, he's going to have to go much quicker. But I think they'll be happy being ahead of AC Motorsport. It's Miklas Bourne who is in third. No, it's not, because the BBR Cooper's gone back up. We know it's not Tannet at that wheel, because the wheel of that, because he did the last session. So in TCR at the moment, first is Autorama with a combined time of 2:10.9. That's an average time, of course. 2:11.1 for BBR's Cupra, and then AC with the 188 car. Their remaining cars, we can say that now, as Nick clarified for us, with an 11.4 also. On an 11.4, no, that's a TCX car. So then it's a 12.4 back to Sam Derry, who's now in the Holmgard Motorsport Volkswagen in fourth place in TCR. In TCX, the Deux Arbres with their Ligier with a 2:09.993 average. That's impressive. With a 2:10.3 average for Lamera in second. That's Lamera GT2 222. And the third is another TCX Ligier in that class. That's CTF Performance with Nicolas Berraud behind the wheel of the 295 car for the CTF. 222, you can't miss that one. That's the one with the big purple star on the side. And you can't really miss the Ligier either, because it's very elegant.
It's very
and dare I say, understated.
Well,
it's not flashy at all, but it's purposeful, that car, Phil.
It is purposeful. As we said, this is the current pole sitter with the times already. He's done a purple Sector 1. He's done a green Sector 2. Is he going to go faster than his 2:10.807? We'll find out very shortly as he comes around turn 15. Track limits there, maybe.
Jonathan Main has said, is that Ligier Automotive JS2 the 21st century equivalent of the Venturi 400? It does have the look of a Venturi around the front end. I would absolutely agree with that.
2:09.596, thank you very much.
Fastest lap of the qualifying.
Exactly, he was on a flyer there, but it looked so smooth. It looked so measured. And one of the things you're not seeing a lot of this year is lights all over the cars. New regulations this year as well. So lots of little changes, which we will go through in a lot more detail a little bit later on. But as we are about 5:40 to go in this session, the battle at the top of the field for the TCX class. 2:09.830 combined time for the Leader Otair, and then the Lamera GT at 2:10.317. So they have at least half a second over them at the moment, and with the pro driver at the wheel, I think they're pretty safe as the clock continues to tick down. 5 minutes to go in this third and final session for TCE combined of TCR and TCX category.
Not sure what happened to Zenga Motorsport. We did see it out briefly in the first session. We've not seen it since.
No.
PPM with the, so that's a 133 for Zenga, for the 103 PPM Passion Performance Motorsport, and CTF second of the Ligiers, not seen in the sessions so far. Again, we'll get Joe and Nick to give us a rundown on what is going on there with that car.
I think Christoph is actually just enjoying this because he's gone to purple in Sector 1 and Sector 2 again in the 202. Really just getting everything together. As they said when Nick talked to them, it was about they got a lot of setup time, and they've got a very good setup for this car, which is it runs a little bit wide out of turn 14 and turn 15 down to turn 16 again. He's got a 209.596 as a benchmark, over half a second better than everybody else.
Bit wide on final turn 16 for Christophe Bouchou as he comes across the line.
209.278, another 3/10
if he holds onto that, that's a super.
That is
super
a magic lap.
This Ligier again, not been seen an awful lot. We have had it in Creventic before, and as I say, the Ligier European Series has supported Creventic. It's got a V6 3.7. Engine. It's Ford. It's a Ford in there. It's one of their crate motors.
It's the it's the Echo Boost.
Ginetta do a similar thing. Relatively mildly tuned, as indeed the Ginettas are. They don't need to be because they weigh nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
350 horsepower. That's not breathed on at all there. But it only weighs 1,000 kilos.
Yeah.
And it's got Brembos on it. It's got the ZF. Clutch with a 6-speed sequential gearbox with an adjustable ZF, with an adjustable diff, excuse me. And what's interesting about that, it's a 3-more gearbox. It's a transverse gearbox.
Yep.
So that's quite unusual, and that they're looking to sell more of these into endurance as well as doing the sprint races themselves. I suppose you would say it was the spiritual successor to the GS2, which, if you've got a long memory like me, I've got a feeling in the mid-70s, it might have been 1975, I think it finished second in 75. I'm going to have to look that up now, aren't I, because I've said it.
Can the Lemira do anything about it, because he posted the fastest ever first sector time of 43.196, and he's coming around the final corner now down towards the start-finish line. Let's see what he can put up on the board. 209.763.
Tight.
It's tight up the top there.
Half a second on average.
Yes.
Now, and the half a second is the half a second difference in this session between Christophe Bouchou and Pierre Couasnon. So that is pure Pierre. Fancy sending Pierre out and saying, right, mate, go on, stick it on pole. Who am I up against? Christophe Bouchou.
He's an AM driver. He's an AM driver. And he's entered as an AM, and Bouchou is a pro driver.
I think that's the fourth best time of anybody. And Rob Huff is going faster again in the 116 for Autorama. He's just posted the fastest first sector. Now that is at the twisty sector, so that's fine. Down to turn 10. Here comes Huffy, starting to climb the hill now through turn 10. Don't take all the exit at turn 10 because you've got to commit to turn 11. Rides the curb, touring car driver that he is. Well done, Huffy.
Oh, yeah, nice.
Up towards the top of the hill at turn 12. The old admin and management building on his left-hand side. The new hotel now just behind him with some very nice LED lighting on the outside of that was flashing away last night. Now down into 13. Through there, flat out. Pick your braking point for 14. It's pretty difficult, actually, and he had a bit of traffic there. Yeah. But the good news is that 14, there's a number of different lines there. I don't think he was compromised too much there, Phil, to be honest, because he just came in as tight a line and let him breathe in the middle of 14.
Yeah, he just ran it up the hill and then turned down hard as he makes his way down towards turn 16 now. His best time for this session. we will have a look at the moment on where he is, 209.829. Let's see what he can do on this one, 209.432.
Quality.
And look at that last sector, 35.340. That's Rob Huff qualifying at its best in a TCR.
I think that's the second quickest time we've seen.
I think it may well be.
4:32. Yes, it is.
Yeah, it's only 2/10 off
Christophe
the Ligier.
Boucher.
It's
Yeah.
only 2/10 off his time. There's two pro drivers together in two different class cars. Talk about balance and performance. Seriously.
Well, the Lamera, actually, and I'm indebted to Dave Alcock for tweeting in at RSL_studio. He says the GS2R has 350, you mentioned.
Yeah.
The Lamera has only got 330, but it's got a very lightweight frame. It shows what you can do with a lightweight car. The key point that Dave makes there, Phil, is, for me, undoubtedly, is that these are purpose-built racing cars,
they are.
effectively tube frame cars. People say that's all technology. Why aren't you building stuff with carbon? But in terms of being able to fix things and in terms to be able to get a car out for a price, look at what they're doing here.
Yeah.
That's a really quality time around here.
It is indeed.
When you consider TCRs are all factory-built sports cars, touring cars. Right?
Yeah, the Ligier and the Lamara, they're perfect tube frame. You can do a front clip, you can do a rear clip. You know, you got all of these things that you can do. The checkered flag is out, by the way, and that brings us to the end of TCE qualifying. And it's a Ligier and a Lamara we'll see on the front row of their grid tomorrow when at the combined times, once we get everything locked down. But boy, that's going to be an interesting 24 hours.
Huffy's on another lap, but he's not going quicker. And
Pierre spun it.
With Pierre Cousineau, who was trying to chase down that pole position in TCE and TCX, has had a little loop in the 222.
He has indeed, and got it all back around and running.
That was coming out of turn 12, I think.
Yeah, I'm not too
Just
sure.
at
Let's
the
have a look at this. Let's have a look. No, there's 10. There's.
He got
10.
involved.
Oh, they might
was
have been a
involved
bit of
with
contact with the Lamara. Yes.
That was a big,
Yeah.
That was
That
was an Audi, wasn't it?
It's it's TCR, but I couldn't pick up which one it was that impacted him. But there might be some damage. That rear left doesn't look like it's actually on correctly. The angle's not quite right for me. Does he have a problem there? He's got mobile again.
He's moving back.
But,
he's broken a toe link, hasn't he? On the
he's
bottom.
broken that. Yeah, that rear left. He's broken that. That's fixable.
Well, the good news is it's the last qualifying session.
Exactly.
For this.
It doesn't have to go out again.
So I reckon locked in now with Huffy not improving. In fact, he's very slow through the middle sector.
Yeah, checkered flag done. He's not there.
So pole position for TCR is Autorama Motorsport, and TCR for and pole position for TCX, and therefore the whole TCE grid will be the Ligier of Les Deux Arbres. We'll talk to Christophe Boucher, who put up the fastest time in all three qualifying sessions at 2:09.8 in a minute. I just want to quickly go back to that incident between the 222 of Pierre Cousineau and
an unknown Audi.
Unidentified Audi. It wasn't an
It's
unidentified flying Audi, but it was an unidentified. It was an identified flying Lamera. Let's just see if it was Schuster on the back. That's not Huffy's car, is it?
I don't know.
The 116?
I can't see it. I just couldn't quite pick up the number as it went out of frame. But I have to have a look at that.
It was cruising.
It
that
was.
car,
Yeah, it was.
and it does seem to have carried on because there's nobody else stuck out there.
Got a
But
bit of airtime.
The left rear suspension damage.
Yep.
On that car, that is fixable.
Yeah.
And there's actually, it's been relatively light contact because there's no bodywork damage. Just underlining, Phil, how much camber they run on the back wheels of these cars.
It's run over on the lower half of the back wheel. That's what he's hit.
Yeah. And is there a tiny bit of bodywork damage there?
Yep.
Just a little bit of
wheel rub as it came up. Yes. Thank you to the crew member pointing that out to us.
Let's head down to the pit lane. Fastest in that session with a 2:09.278, which is the fastest time of anybody, was Christophe Boucher for the Ligier team. That puts them, Nick, on TCE pole position.
Yeah, actually, that was my arm, Phil.
Thank you very much.
The damage. Some big pictures here for the Ligier team. Christophe hasn't taken his helmet off yet. Happy for Jacques Leconte, I don't think, ran in the car. Just wait for Christophe to take off his helmet. Oh, they've got the hat as well. Peter and Ola.
Jacques Leconte, surely Jacques Leconte, as in the team owner and manager.
Yes.
Excellent.
This World Endurance Championship overalls. Quick record. Christophe, congratulations. Pole for the car, and you had the fastest lap of the entire session.
Yeah, I'm very happy. My first time here with the two Labres, with Jacques, very old friend, and two guys I know some very well. Very happy. We can expect better things to start in pole position. It was our goal, even if we know this is not a big advantage for 24 hours, but this is always something good to take.
We've asked everyone about this, but of course, it's easy going fast with no other cars around. How is it with the traffic?
Yeah, of course, this is one of the big problem here in that kind of race. Because the traffic with something like 80 cars on track, it's just unbelievable. Very hard, a lot of difference between drivers. And for us, this is also with our car, which is not the faster, because GT3 is faster. Then we have also to check the mirror all the time. So it's will be a busy race, I think.
Christophe, Ligier team, congratulations.
I think it's brilliant that Jacques Leconte has come back to drive as well. Absolutely superb. I'm indebted to a number of people, including Yoda's uncle and Dominic Window. My initial thought has been confirmed. Well done to them for dragging up some screenshots. That was the number 116 Rob Huff's car that came into contact with the Lamera, the 222 machine. Now, they got pole position, so they'll be heading to the post-race scrutineering, also being asked, in fact, the 222 team manager being asked to go to the race director's office. That would suggest to me that they felt it was their driver's issue. Slight delay to GT, but that's what comes up next here from the Dubai 24 hours, the Hankook Dubai 24 hours of 2022, and RSL celebrating our 11th race and 10th year of being here at the traditional season opener to the International Endurance Series. And what an opener this is. Over 80 cars entered. Yes, we've lost a couple so far, and we will let you know about the status of one or two others that were already walking wounded after the early non-mandatory testing session. So there were effectively test days that we saw earlier in the week that have caused so many issues. And, well, what can I say? Both of the Lamera GT team managers have been asked to go to race director's office. One of the most expensive traffic jams that you will ever see anywhere in the pit lane, with a huge grid of GT3 cars. Audi right at the front. And Audi, interestingly, that's the 031 car, it's the WRT. Audi, for the first time ever, being able to boast here that they have 4 different Audi race cars at the track. They have their TCR, which debuted here. They have their GT4, their new GT3 Evo, and the brand new, making its debut, GT2 car. All those last 3, of course, all based on the beautiful Audi R8, a shape, by the way, that has not dated in my eyes whatsoever. It is as classic a shape for Audi as the 911 is for Porsche.
I 100% agree with you. So we have, category-wise, out there, GT3, GT4, GTX, 992 and 991. 62 cars. Yes, you heard me. 62 cars are going to take part in 3 15-minute sessions. This is going to come at you hard and fast, folks, because there is a lot of teams out there and a lot of cars. Traffic will play a part in this one, even with we've got less than race number, but it's going to play a big part in this. And getting a clean run in any one of your 3 sessions, whether it's either your pro, your pro-am, or your amateur driver, is going to be a team manager's nightmare, pretty much.
Agreed. Absolutely. Manuel just announced as an LMP2 driver for Le Mans for Penske, was it Penske?
Yes.
In the WEC next year, we have got some heavy hitters.
Oh, big time.
Heavy hitters out there. 159.6 Fred Vervies was the first one to get under the 2-minute marker, but Dries Van Toor has already gone faster. MS7, it's the dark grey car with the red highlights. Also going quickly at the moment, Fred Vervies, Harry Gotzacker for ST. They're all under 2 minutes, so 3 cars beneath 120 seconds on what was effectively their first flying lap.
Exactly, and it took 5 minutes to get that lap done because everybody was tripping over it. We've only got 2 laps in the book at the moment with 9 minutes to go. Because of the traffic, they're just not going to get laps, and the laps they get may not be respective of what they want to do. As Dries Van Toor leading the way in the MS7 by WR2, the Audi R8 LMS GT3. He's gone purple again in Sector 1 and Sector 2. He must have a fairly clear track. I'm trying to find the number 7 tracker out there, and he has a clear track in front of him. He's just coming down towards turn 14 now. He's only got a few cars that are heading down towards turn 16. He's going to put in another blinder, but he just dropped down as Rafael Marciello as RBW Racing, I'll get it out eventually, by HRT in the AMG GT3, and Dries Van Toor 57.798. That is impressive for his second flying lap, and that is the way it runs at the moment. Audi, Mercedes, Audi, Lamborghini, your top 4 at the moment as they continue on to put in fast lap times with 8 minutes remaining in this session. Boy, that really hit fast.
Yeah, very, very impressive. I'll take some class leaders for you as well. Capital RT, Yadro, Mercedes in GT3. Is the quickest there. Victor Scheitar in the number 13 car in Pro-Am. It is Harry Gotzacker for Sam Tan Racing. They are in 10th position. That's a good run for them so far. Fark Auto Tech have the the 992 class pole position. GTX, Leipert Motorsport, they are quickest there at the moment. The 992 Pro car isn't as quick as the 992 and I can't believe I'm saying that because Jerome Blakemoreland is behind the wheel of that car.
How did that happen? And
so how's that happened? With the 992, Alexander Fark in the 961 quicker than Blakemoreland and Sayed Al-Mahiri, Basha Mandini as well. They all know those cars very well. These are the new for 2021, as they were 992 Cup cars. They are a world away from the 991 cars. Nothing wrong with the 991 Cup car. Yes, please. 991.2 GT3.
2, please.
Have one of those for the road. But the 992s with that new body, what is it, 7th iteration of Porsche's venerable 911. All the cars in the street version are wide body. They're brand new bodies, brand new suspension, a slight change to the interior, huge amount more aero and more adjustable aero on the 992 Cup cars. What hasn't changed is that wonderful, normally aspirated 4-litre flat 6 engine.
And you just can't replicate that sound.
You can't get close to it.
You can't indeed. Just following on from that, leading the 991 category, 991 Pro-Am has been combined because of minimal entries. Harry Hilders in the NKPP, but racing by Baz Coton Racing, leading that way. And in the GT4, it's Nico Verdok.
Raffaele Marciello, if you're on the stream watching the video, he's on the back straight at the moment. He has a whole gaggle of cars ahead of him that he's going to try and pull past, including one of the GT4 BMWs. That's the 452 Aviazork Rennsport car that he goes past and now cuts to the inside of another GT4 car up the hill towards the braking point. The hill actually helps you there because you're going up the hill. One of the new 992 Cup cars that he's going by is the number 944. That's Basha Mardini in the ID Racing car through the flat-out kink at 13. And ahead of him, he's still got plenty of cars, including, who's the next car ahead of him? That's the number 30 that's right ahead of him. And comes through to the end of the lap. You know, the penultimate corner here. People, I think, don't realise how difficult that corner is because right at the top of the hill, the camber changes and doesn't help you at all.
No. No, and it's really in a Porsche. That is commonly known as Porsche Corner, because if you come up on traffic there, it's one of the Porsche Corners, sorry, we have 3 here. That one there, if you come up on traffic on the top and you lift off, because of you coming up over there, you get your lift off oversteer. Turn 4 is the same. The tree between turn 4 and 5, that's Porsche tree, because if you lift off through there, you're going to get the same impact. You're going to get the pendulum coming around. With 4 minutes to go here in this session, it's been action-packed from the get-go. We have 60 cars on track at this time, and it's Dries Van Toor leading the way. He's back in the pits at the moment. He's got in early to change over to the next driver with 3:51. I doubt whether we'll see him back out there again, leading the GT3 category. GT3 AM is Victor Slatour in car number 13, capital RT Yardo.
I've been corrected by Alessandros. There are actually 5 Audi models here, which is one more than Audi's own press release told us, because the one that Huffy's driving, the 116 in TCR, is actually the new version.
Yeah.
And I think that's the only one in this race. So,
welcome
Alessandros, well done.
Welcome to my world. He's on my WhatsApp when I'm calling Formula One, and he sees things I don't see, and he messages me. He has got an encyclopedic knowledge of the rule book. He's multiple TCR champion here, multiple Clio Cup champion here, and he knows his place like the back of his hand. He also reads everything. Thank you, Alex.
That's what long plane flights are for
Yes,
me. I print everything out in the lounge and sit and read.
Yeah, it's great to have the support online, as well as the pits are starting to fill up now as everybody's coming in. 2:43 to go. Not really going to see an outlap and a quick time. Maybe a slap dash of fuel if they're running minimum fuel to try and minimise their car weight. They have to make the minimum weight anyway. But so many different capacities for the different type of drivers that you have here, and we will go through all of that a lot later on, because it's going to take a little while.
About 24 hours, I reckon.
I think 24 hours, and there we go. On board again as down inside the 923, heading down to turn 13. This is not where you want to go too wide. It's getting marbly on the outside there. This doesn't happen during the race because we've got 2 lanes around here, slow and fast lanes. It gives you double the normal racing line track width. This is the rise up to 15. Slow car in front of you. Where do you go? This is Roman Mavlanov in the CC, the Car Collection Motorsport, the Audi R8 LMS GT3.
We've got plenty of new cars to talk about as well in this race, including a new car from Ginetta, a genuine GT4 car. That's where Joe Bradley is. We welcome him to our broadcast for 2022. Afternoon, Joseph.
Hello everybody, and what a fabulous event this has turned out to be. CWS, big part of the Creventic series. Colin White has just qualified, or played his part in qualifying in the 478. I'm with Michael Simpson here right now. Michael, you're 3rd in the car?
Yeah, I'm 3rd.
Lawrence Tomlinson, I believe, is in the car now.
That's right, yeah. So we've got the Ginetta owner, Lawrence, out next. It's the first time we've run the G56 GT4 in a long distance race. It's done British GT all year. So it's an R&D exercise for Ginetta, really, and Colin's our favourite, oldest, longest serving customer, and he's, as you say, he's done this event for many, many years, so we're doing it with Colin. He's done a cracking job. He was P4 there against like Stuart Hall and Nico Verdonk. Qualifying's not important. We can start a lap down. We're here to see how the car gets on, but she's lovely. Can't wait to get in.
This amalgamated qualifying process, it's a real team effort, isn't it? It adds responsibility to the likes of Lawrence and Colin, who would normally leave it up to the hotshot, which is you.
I agree. I mean, I think it's more in spirit of the event. It is a team event. It's not about me on a low fuel load and a sticky set of tyres. We're a team, and we're all in the race together for 24 hours, and I think it's a true reflection of a car's pace. So I'm all for it. Being the typical Yorkshire people we are, I've not got a set of tyres, so I'll have to try a bit harder.
Oh, well, it leaves more budget for teabags. The G56, it's got the V8 engine, which is in comparison to the G55, which has got a V6 engine. I'm correct on that one, yeah?
Yeah, it looks very familiar, but the underpinnings are very differently. It's all the suspension, mechanical uprights, brakes, drive shafts are all off the LMP3 car. So it's quite a sophisticated car underneath. It's our own V8 engine, 6.2 V8. Full power will be up to nearly 600 horsepower, but we've only got a 40-something mil restrictor in. So we're probably packing about 410, 420. But the idea is, compared to the normal cars, is slow them down in corners a little bit and have a bit more power up the straight. That's the plan.
Well, Colin's just qualified. Colin, let me ask you first, you're the first GT car I've asked about this, of GT driver. What's the track conditions? Are they perfect?
When we first went out, there's a wind gust blowing, so all the sand's coming down the straights. But it's really good. The temperature's going down now and the track's coming alive. So I should think it gets faster and faster as the time I go on now.
Michael's just told us it's a bit of a testing session for this brand new car. CWS are very confident in dealing with adversity. Are you expecting the car to go the distance?
It's been touch wood, it's been very reliable up to now. And all the things we've learned in the past on the other Ginettas, we put that into this car. And this car is improving all the time, so it's only going to get better.
Great stuff. Thanks, guys.
Yeah,
that sounds good, doesn't it?
Oh,
I have to say.
6.4. We both, our eyes just stood out on the stalks then.
And confirmed there that it's not just the Ginetta name. Steve Simpson there saying it's not just the Ginetta name that is on the cam covers. That's an engine of their own design. So I need to do a bit more digging. The other thing is that suspension and other bits and pieces from the LMP3 car. So that's probably going to mean wishbones and,
That's a serious piece of kit.
Yeah.
Really, fourth in class in that session with a best time 2:10.315. And I think their long-term strategy doesn't matter if we're a lap down.
Yeah.
The car from 600 to 400 with the restrictor on is so under stress motor-wise.
It'll run forever, won't it?
It's like the AMG motor. It'll just run forever. It's the tank.
I've got to tell you as well, not in endurance racing, but in sprint racing, I raced many years ago the G55 in the G55 Super Cup in the UK that supported British touring cars. Funny enough, we were at Rockingham, having been talking about how many ex-Rockingham alumni there are around, or have been around these parts. Hello to our race control favourite person over there at the moment. Good to have you back. The G55 that I raced was actually an endurance spec, not in sprint spec. It's a really confidence-inspiring car. No ABS, no traction control. So, it's got to be driven, but paddle shift.
Yep.
But the basic car, the chassis of the car, I mean, I thoroughly enjoyed it with the V6 on, but you did think, I wonder what it'd be like with about another 100, 150 horsepower. Well, we're going to find out now. But they've beefed everything up on that as well. I think the look of it is again, it's another classic. It's one of those long, snouty, big bonnets with now a big V8 underneath it. You look at the AMG GT3s. You know that's a Mercedes straight away when you see that front end. It goes all the way back to
another postcode,
pretty
much.
and all of those cars, the old Superlight coupes and all of that. I think Ginetta have done a great job. I think the G55 has been underrated for endurance racing, and now with the G56 they've added another string to their bow, and there's a lot of very, very good drivers come up through the Ginetta Junior and other categories, GT categories around the world. They're another one that just sell a lot of cars that you wouldn't necessarily expect. And you talk to them and they go, oh yeah, we've got, at the moment we've got 67 cars or whatever it is in Japan. And we've got, and you go, really? Why do we not hear about that? It's a good British success story, to be honest.
It is, and I do agree with you. And I think GT4 is a great growth category. Okay, we've seen it over the seasons that because A, of cost, and B, you can have a lesser experienced driver in the car. It's not as edgy as the GT3 category. But them building a purpose-built GT4 car, I think if that, yes, they've been running it in the championships over there, but for an endurance car, if they can make that stick in GT4, boy. And with Ginetta, their price point, that is a big, big thing. Absolutely huge.
They've also, the other thing about all of these type of cars, whether it's GT3, GT4, GT2, and the P programs as well, and this is where Ginetta maybe might have an advantage over anybody else coming into that space, is that they've already got the global infrastructure
Yeah.
from supporting their LMP categories, the Ginetta Junior categories, etc. And, you know, I'm going to make this sound a lot more easy than it probably is, but it's basically adding, it's basically like adding another parts catalogue.
Yes, yeah.
They already know how to get stuff out there. We've gone green, and straight out of the box, it's the Grove Porsche.
Well, straight out of the fuel
92.
bay.
Well, yes.
He got out in front of everybody else.
This is the number 92, the remaining
Oof.
Herbeth Motorsport car. Great to see the Grove name on it
Yep.
from my Liquid Molly Bathurst commentary.
Yep. And
Sven Muller has taken that car out. Meantime, whilst people get up to speed, let's go back to Joe Bradley, who's down in the pit lane with Jerome Blakemoreland, who's in the 992 class this weekend, Joe.
I was very pleasantly surprised when I walked past the Red Camel's garage and saw the name of J. Blakemoreland on the board above the garage. Jerome, this was a drive that came about very last minute for you.
Yeah, that's right. I was supposed to drive in a GT3, but unfortunately that program got cancelled. They were planning on a new car. So it didn't happen for me, but then I was in the States and I got a call from the team if I could still make it. So jumped on the plane and here I am.
And that's not an easy task these days.
Yeah.
Tell us firstly about the Porsche and how it's gone in qualifying for the first 15-minute segment.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's a great car. I've driven it before a couple of times in the season. But it's really nice to go up against GP Elite, obviously one of the best teams out there at the moment in Super Cup and Carrera Cup. Their champ is running as well now with Laurie Tenforde, so it's a lot of fun taking it up against those guys. And the cars are great fun to drive, they're reliable, so we're looking for a strong race.
And I know the Red Camel team is delighted to have you in the car. What is the team like to work for? I'm not being unfair when I say they're not necessarily at the same level that you've driven at.
No, but it's a lot of fun. We might be a little bit on the back foot compared to GP Elite, which is normal because they're really on top of the game. But anyway, it's a lot of fun. Ivo and me go back a long way. I'm trying to beat him. He's done this race 17 times. I've done it 15 times now. So, but he needs to stop driving, then I can finally beat his record.
Great stuff. Thanks, Jerome. It's great to see you here. Great to see you.
Gerald.
He's smiling under this mask, by the way. And I know he was smiling. I can tell by his eyes.
brilliant.
Joe Bradley with Jerome Blakemoreland down in the pit lane. Up in the Hankook Global Broadcast Centre, John Hindhaugh, Phil Anson for this second part of qualifying. Still to come, by the way, another 15 minutes, which will probably set pole position. The times at the top are very close. I'll run you down some of the times from the first qualifying in a moment. And then, of course, we've got one of my favourite times of the week here, the nighttime qualifying.
Yep.
And we do have that in sound and vision for you, all free, of course, across the weekend. It was Chris Meese who was quickest in the first session in the MS7 by WRT Audi with a 57.7, 1 minute 57.798 actually, 58.5 for Manuel Metzger. Oh, sorry, no, that was that's not the drivers who've done those times. They're the ones that are out now. Excuse me. It was Abu Dhabi Racing by HRT in second with a 58.5, 58.9 Barwell Motorsport in the Lamborghini. Rolf Nation has just gone out for them. Benjamin Gotha doing double duty this weekend. He's in the Audi R8 of WRT at the moment. His teammate put in a 58.9, best for fourth position. Top 7, by the way, all full GT cars. 5th for Dynamic Motorsport in the 67 Porsche. 6th for Almanar Racing by HRT for the Mercedes, the number 777. And Gilles Gounon was in 7th position before this session started. But we've already got some improvements. Let's see what Chris Meese has done. He's just done a 57.5, 59.5, 59.2 by Sven Muller in the GT3R. That's still a 991 shaped car. We've not yet seen the new 992. It's been testing. The 992 GT3R unlikely to be a RSR version of the 992, which I found very disappointing. I don't think Porsche are going to build one for just a season or two. So that's the fastest that we've seen of anybody from Sven Muller, and that bumps the Herbeth, the remaining Herbeth GT3R 991 up into second place, and they are running in the full GT3 category.
Yep.
WRT, Benji Gotha down to third. Benji just taking the time to get dialed into that. 2:01.5 last time around, but how the heck anybody's making any decent times out there at the moment?
Traffic. Yeah, just talking about the Herbert Motorsport team, as you said, it's got the Grove brothers in there, Stephen and Brenton, and also supercar driver Anton De Pascali is in that car as well. Now he's competed in the Bathurst 12-hour, so he's got some. He's not just a sprint racer.
And he, can you just tell me again the series that Anton De Pascali drives in?
It would be a supercar series of some sort.
It's just the way you say it. It's you have to have that. Well, I can say the Repco Supercar Championship, and it just doesn't have the same.
No,
it doesn't have the same. I know from when I'm working with Crailsey.
Oh,
hello to Crailsey.
Hello, Crailsey.
I'm sure he'll not be up and about quite yet.
Mid-afternoon. Indeed. Chris Miles on top of the timesheets at the moment, but it's Sven Miller with the fastest lap. 1:58.752. That is impressive with the amount of traffic out there.
Let's go down some of the class leaders at the moment. We're still 15 minutes of the next session and 8.5 of this one to go. Jaap van Lagen for MP Motorsport, the top of the shop in the number 19 Mercedes in GT3 Pro Am, and he's advanced that car to 6th overall. 992 Pro, remember that fantastic run earlier on. Morris Shearing for Red Camel. Jordan has gone up to 16th position and is leading the 992 Pro category, but still the Huber racing car, Lauren Heinrich. All right, well, that's a Porsche factory driver. Lauren, very good in real life and in virtual reality. The 923 Huber Racing leads the AM category in 992. GTX, it's Greg Gorski for Leipert Motorsports, Lamborghini number 710, 26th overall and leading their category. The Audi Gt2, by the way, is in that GTX category. Bert Longin behind the wheel of the PK Car Sport run machine, the 704, second in that class at the moment. Where else have we got? A 991 category, Red Ant Racing. Peter Ooms is leading for 903. GT4, Heart of Racing with Alex Riberas. Had a fantastic season in IMSA Racing, picking up championships over there. Good to have Alex back, that was stuck out in New Zealand during the lockdown and did some racing out there, won a championship with an offshoot of Heart of Racing that they formed over there whilst they were stuck out there. Went there for 2 weeks, stayed there for the better part of 2 years.
Spinner out of turn 15.
Right rear puncture, that is, I think.
67 Porsche. We've got another Porsche. Everybody's off track. Yellow flags are out at turn number 15. Mobile again just looks like Porsche Corner has claimed its first victim at turn 14 as one of our many Porsche Corners around here. And it's just, if you get it traffic there and you lift off and you're just at the wrong time of the weight shift of the car, it will pendulum you.
That gold car is one of the dynamic cars. It's the Roberto Pampanini, Mauro Calamia, Stefano Monaco and Matteo Caroli, and I think it was Caroli who did the first stint.
Yeah, he did the first one.
So where's it? It's Calamia in it this time around. They're 11th in GT3, and they are well down. Their average of 206, whereas you're looking at GT3 158. I wonder if they are running in one of the advantage classes. Although they can't be, they've got too many pro drivers in for that. I'll get that checked up, but that's much further down than I thought. The other car from Dynamic is in 4th at the moment. Klaus Bachler behind the wheel of that car.
Yeah, they've got one AM, one Pro and two semi-Pro, so they're not running in AM Plus to give them that advantage. So I don't think, unless they've got a car issue, that they're trying to get through.
How good is it to see the Grove colours out here in Dubai?
Yep.
The 6 hours and the 12 hours, seeing the Grove name down through the years there. Always looking to be at the sharp end of the field in whatever class they have run. And my goodness, they've had some good run in the Liquid Molly Bathurst 12 hours down through the years. Car resplendent in its black, red and white livery.
Somebody's taken the marker board out at turn 14. That's what all the foam is all over the track. That'll get replaced before our next session. As see the track team here always on point around Dubai Autodrome. Thank you once again to all our marshals and everybody who has worked so hard to get this COVID-safe race underway. It's just the way the roundabouts are blocked. You need passes here, you need this here.
It's good.
Creventic has done an amazing job to bring international motorsport back. They were the first ones out of COVID. Remember, they had that race in Europe. Their first race was a Creventic race. Portimao.
Yeah.
And they really set the benchmark, which a lot of other companies and a lot of other racing series have looked at to work out, how do we do this? How do we make it work? How do we get people on track safely? And Creventic, well, they set the benchmark. And yeah, what a benchmark it is. And getting this many cars around this track. Good to see Cabell Fisher out there in the Audi GT4 car number 411. A guy I used to race with here many, many years ago. Moved back to Canada and back out for this race. And good to see a few names up there. Jordan Groger and the Dragon Racing Mercedes AMG GT4. They've raced here in GT4 and GT3 from the Dragon Racing stables down there in garage number 12. They have their entire setup here at the Dubai Autodrome, and they run a whole heap, and they run a Ferrari series here as well.
A couple of people joining us late. First of all, where have you been?
Yes,
Second of all, have you got a note from your mum to tell us you were going to be late? Thirdly, you've missed some cracking action already and some great pictures from our colleagues at 0221 001. Thank you to the whole team who's been out here for some time setting up and have got a D-rig and get themselves to Yas Marina for the 6-hour race next time around. Fourthly, if you're just joining us now, a few people still catching up on the stories. While we were on air on Wednesday for what was in the UK midday motorsport, we were watching what was the private test session.
Yes, it was a private test session.
I think we had about 77 cars from memory went out in that private test session. And whilst I won't say it was carnage, there was one or two incidents and quite a number of quite significant accidents.
Yes.
One of which befell the number 91 Herbeth GT3 car. Contact with a Cupra coming out of 10 into 11, which sent the Porsche into heavy contact with the barriers. There were reports of either a roll or a partial roll. Daniel Alleman at the wheel was fine with that. The car is not, and that car is out of the race. It's been scratched before we got to an official session. There were a number of other incidents both on Monday and Wednesday. We claimed at least one other Porsche, which was then replaced and then crashed again. We've
977, that one was.
That was the 977, absolutely right. And then we had the 199 Audi from AC. That car was also scratched from the entry after a test session, unofficial test session incident yesterday. So that's a little bit of a catch-up for those of you who are just joining us at... what time is it? Just into the afternoon, 10 past midday, 11 minutes past midday.
And another
in the UK.
one to add to that, John, the 451, which is the Team Absord Rennsport. That was the BMW M4 GT4. That hasn't taken place in this session as well.
Oh,
now,
really?
that was on the original entry list. It's not on the current, so I'm not sure what happened with that one. But it's
That's a fan favourite.
Yep, exactly. So 60 cars have taken part in these two sessions with 1 minute remaining and one more 15-minute session to go.
And remember, this is just the GT part.
Yes.
We've already had the TCE, touring car endurance part as well. As it stands at the moment, it's MS7 by WRT who held on to that very good lead that they had from the 157.7 and 158.9 for Chris Meese. He's called that a day some time ago. Manuel Metzger's still out there for Abu Dhabi Racing by HRT. So, great to see. Right, WRT, HRT, two big names from Europe, but making the partnership with two really big names from out here.
Indeed. RBW Racing has been here for many, many years. 2012, I think, was their first race that they had, and they've had it with Black Falcon, etc., multiple winners, multiple-time winners in the GT3 or the A6 category back then. And yeah, as you can see, the same thing, the HRT bringing in the locals in.
Yeah, Almanar Racing by HRT as well. There is a WRT entry. Oh, wait, just coming to the end. The checkered flag has come out. I'm just checking to see if anybody is going to improve. Oh, Phil Queer for CP Racing, the number 85 American team. Good to see Phil in that car.
Last minute drive, last minute call up for him.
He might be going to steal GT3 and provisional pole here if he goes through. Yes, he has, right on the checkered flag, and moves up to 9th place overall.
Well done. Now, he used to race with the Moutran brothers.
He did.
Okay,
who are back with an Aston Martin
this year. Okay, we've got another partnership which we'll talk about with them later on. But Phil Quaife, very successful here. He's won here and with a local team, MSW Racing as well. So good to see him back out. Picked up a last-minute drive. He was out on a track day on the weekend. I came down and saw him. He was driving a Porsche. He's in a Mercedes.
Just waiting for Gilles Gounon to see if he improves in the Sun Energy. Another American team by SPS Automotive. I don't think his splits are going to be there. Metzger is a little bit off the pace as well. In fact, he's just come into the pits. So, fastest in... Manuel Metzger was fastest in that session. No, he wasn't actually. It was Sven Muller who was fastest in that session. But MS7 by WRT still hold on to the lead. Chris Meese, 1:58.9, was third quickest in that session. He's with Joe Bradley.
7, Chris. You currently heading the timesheets. One more 15-minute segment to go. How was the run for you?
It hasn't been the cleanest of my runs here so far. Got a bit of traffic in the first couple laps and obviously had one clear lap. This year the tire drops quite fast, so basically you have 1, maybe 2 push laps and then the rear starts to go away already. So I think we maximized every chance we had. I think there were others in a worse position, which probably with more traffic. So I'm quite glad that the team found a way to get a clean lap at least.
And it's important for every run to have a fresh set of brand new Hankooks?
Yeah, actually, like I said before, you know, the peak of the tire is there for 1 or 2 laps, and then it drops and your performance goes massively away. So for the race, we need to find a way to find a setup for endurance, you know, for a couple of laps in a row. So yeah, it's interesting to see.
And is that something the engineers can find with suspension geometry?
Oh yeah, I have full trust in them. We have Wim, our race car engineer, is so good. I'm not worried about that. Obviously, we choose a quite aggressive setup for qualifying, and for the race, we're going to fine-tune that, and it will be much more reliable and much better over the distance.
Thanks for talking to us, Chris. I'm sure you want to get back to the timing screen. Well done.
Yeah, he'll not be happy to just have done the third quickest time there. It was Sven Muller. I've just had a quick run down with a 58.3, who was the quickest in that session. That was just 0.018 away from the 58.350 that who was it? It was out first for MS7. I've forgotten now. See, that's so much going on and so many names. Should have written that down. 1:59.2, no, 58. Tell you
it was Dries Ventura.
It was Dries, of course, yeah. Klaus Bachler, 58.8. That time, anything that's under a 1:59 on the screen, you're doing pretty well. Pretty well indeed. 60 cars for this GT portion. We've already had the TCE portion of the grid with the Ligier and the Lamera at the front, ahead of the gaggle of TCR cars. Check out all the results and get live timing as well. 24H Series. 24h-series.com.
Well done to Lawrence Tomlinson, getting up a place on the final lap and up to 4th position. He was down in 5th and he put his lap time in at 2:11.582. Got himself up another position just behind the Dragon Racing GT4 from Jordan Groger. So yeah, some positions changing right down at the last gasp.
I tell you what it has done. Chris Meese not getting the cleanest of laps there by his own admission. I'm not criticising him. He's way better than I could have done if I'd been here for the whole of my life. Only marginally by about 30 seconds, I'm guessing. But it's pulled down the average the gap between the two averages of MS7 and Abu Dhabi racing by a distinctively large amount, almost half a second.
Yes.
So now there's only just under 2/10, a tenth and a half of a second on average. So these last two drivers that go out for MS7 and Abu Dhabi, really they know what they've got to do. If you're Abu Dhabi's driver, and whoever their driver is, whichever one they pick, you know you've got to be a tenth and a half, 2/10 quicker than MS7.
Here we go, the third and final session coming your way from the Dubai Autodrome. 15 minutes to finalise the front row and the first 30 rows that we're going to get with these 60 cars. And it's 2 by 2 as they head out of pit lane. Not really legal, but some going down there. There is the awesome Audi Gt2. It's the first time we've seen that out here. Very distinctive with that big roof hood scoop. They were saying that it may be the first TCX car if they get to the end to finish inside the top 10.
Really? They think it's that good?
They think it's that good. And so lots of cars going down for the slap and dash into the fuel bowsers. This is why everybody took so long to get the laps before, because they can't move in the pit lane until it opens.
Well, I did notice that a couple of cars went straight into fuel from the end of the last session.
Yeah.
Now, they didn't, of course, because you wouldn't be allowed to change your driver there. So what they did was they came in before the end of the session, got the car splashed, changed the driver, and then went to the fuel and didn't come out. So that's why they're coming out straight from fuel, because the new drivers had to sit there. Clever thinking. Clever thinking.
Team managers have a lot of work to do in these 24-hour races.
Right, so who do you think then, MS7, Abu Dhabi, it's Thomas Norbaya versus Hubert Haupt in the Abu Dhabi car. So Thomas is in the MS7, Abu Dhabi have Hubert Haupt, so which one?
Now, I think, well, Thomas on my list isn't rated, so I don't have a rating next to his name, and I don't know him. I know Hubert Haupt because he raced in the Porsche series here and in Europe, so he is quick, and he's also raced here for Dragon Racing. He knows his track very, very well. They may have saved their best with local knowledge for last, especially in a lot of traffic around here. And then we've got Anton De Pascali out in the Herbert Motorsport Porsche. Boy, talk about sending the big guns out last. It's all kicking off as cars 754 and 923 got to go to scrutineering immediately after the session as we get underway. 12 minutes 40 to go. 60 cars heading out on track. Not everybody out there just yet. A lot of cars still in the fuel. Bowser, if you're just joining us, we are qualifying 3. It is the combination of all 3 times, the amalgamation of those times, which will set your grid position for tomorrow, pending post-qualifying scrutineering for the top 3 in each class.
And we'll keep an eye on some of the other classes as well.
Oh, Murrow Engels out there as well. Boy, that Rick Brukers.
Look at this. This is just everywhere you look. I'm watching there is. I don't think there's 30 yards of space clear on the track at the moment. I'm looking at the GPS tracker, which you can see as well if you go to the series website, 24hseries.com. It is absolutely bonkers, but in a good way at the moment. 60 cars at one stage we had earlier on. And Norbaya goes down the inside at turn number 10, trying to get a little bit of space. Gets past one of the 992 GT3 Porsches. Third position at the moment. 003 in the top right-hand side of the new displays. And that is Anton De Pascali.
He's got Depp up on there.
Yeah.
And
so you have to look at the screen for that. Well, that works, doesn't it?
It works, doesn't it? At night.
That's going to be very bright.
It's going to be really, really bright. It might even flare the camera lens.
I wonder if they've got a dimmer on it for night.
Yes, I did read the stuff on it, and they can change the intensity of it. So
it's very bright sunshine here, and that white is standing out. It's yellow for the TCE category, white for the GTs. Here comes Anton across the line. He's a man who's
purple in sector 3. There he goes, straight to the top.
That's the way to do your first lap. 2 minutes, .314. Now, that's not the quickest lap. He will go quicker than that, but it's quick enough to take Herbert for the moment to the top and provisional pole position for the 2022 Hankook, 24 hours of Dubai.
He's got
by all of 1/1000th of a second on average. So we've had 3 15-minute sessions, or we've had 35 minutes of 45 minutes, and we are separated with 3 different drivers having qualified by 1/1000th of a second at the top of the standings.
Do you reckon Creventic have got this right? Unbelievable stuff. Pasquale just got held up by the Audi Gt2 coming into turn 5. It may affect his time as he's been through sector 1 at the moment. A personal best of 40.012. Absolutely flying through that. And then we've got Dylan Pereira has gone far.
He knows this place.
Yeah, it just absolutely. We've got the 923 around. And
that's Gabrielle Rendon for Uber Racing, the second of the 2 Uber cars. His teammate Hendrik still wasn't too far away from them. They're 3rd and 4th in their category, which is 992 and I think he just got a little bit squirrely.
Yeah, there's a lot of cars out there.
Was that down at 6?
Yeah, it looked like it was coming into 6. So he might have just got a bit of a slapper out of 5 and then into 6, as you do in those type of cars around this circuit.
Coming from where I can, getting a little bit of a slapper out of town at turn 6 might mean something completely different for those of you who would go down the key the big market or the quayside on any night of the week, frankly.
Oh, look
dynamic,
at that.
Dynamic
Wow.
to the top. Marvin Dienst has pulled out a 59.1. Wow, that is now the fastest lap of anybody.
Yes.
Marvin Dienst for Dynamic Motorsport in the number 54, the house with the bamboo door. He is on top of the timing at the moment by 0.3 of a second. No, he's not, because no bike goes quicker. 59.3, not the fastest lap in this session, but it's good enough to take it by 2.5 tenths on the average. This is going to be a real shootout in the next 8.5 minutes. Don't go anywhere.
Rick Bruker's on a flyer at the moment in the Barwell Motorsport Lamborghini Huracan GT3, 39.198 in the first sector.
That's fast.
That is really quick in that sector. He must have just got the traffic right. I'm not sure where he is, and I'm looking for 77 on there at the moment. He's got a heap of traffic in front of him heading up to turn 12. That just might put pay to his effort at the moment. 8 minutes to go in this session.
Just coming out of turn 9 onto that back straight area, as Phil was describing. Wow. Really, really impressive time there by Marvin Dienst. 1:59.181. That's the fastest lap we've seen. 59.172 by Dylan Pereira for Dual Racing. He's down in 11th, but that is the quickest time we've seen from anybody in GT3. So that is the quickest time in this qualifying session, or sessions. 777 just going through as well. One of the Mercedes slightly further down the field in the GT4 category. That's Lucas Stoltz. He's in GT3. He's in 11th in GT3 and 52nd position.
Yeah, unbelievable. Rick Bruker's up into 4th position in the Barwell Motorsport Lamborghini Huracan, a 58.997 for the Lamborghini driver, and he's just made that stick. Currently in 4th outright, and a 58.997 is the fastest lap we have had today, with 6 minutes 55 to go. They're getting quick out there at the moment. I'm just seeing this timing board light up green and purple, and but De Pascali's gone fastest in sector 3 on that lap as well.
58.997 is a new fastest lap of this session.
Yep, Rick Bruker's in the Lambo, of all things. Now, Lamborghini have been on pole here before.
They've never won.
They've never won, unfortunately.
Never been anything other than the German manufacturer won here since 2004 and its inception. It's Audi, Porsche, Audi, Lamborghini, Mercedes, Porsche, Audi, BMW, and Porsche for your top 10. And on average, they are separated by 9/10 of a second.
Does anybody have anything left in the tank for this last one? No, we've only got a few cars in the pits at the moment. The GT2 Audi is in the pits at the moment, as is the Huber Racing, one of the 2 Huber Racing cars, currently running at nose to tail in 30th and 31st position as it stands at the moment. But none of the leaders look like they're coming into the pits at the moment, but they're yellow on the timing screens. No,
isn't that interesting? Because Chris Meese said you've probably only got a couple of laps of a window to get the best out of the tyre. They're all throwing new tyres on. There's no tyre regulations here.
Exactly.
Just coming across the line now. It is the
Yellow flag at turn 15.
Is the
oh, there we go.
Spin. It's the it is the bright orange Vortex. Its team car had just gone across the line, I'd noticed. Now the door is open on the Vortex. I wonder if that's just because there's been it's swung around.
That right rear doesn't look right.
There is no right rear, is there?
Well, it's there, but it's on an angle. You've just got the outside of it there. It looks like it's had contact somewhere down there. Red flag session.
5 minutes to go.
Clock is still running.
Yeah, that has not stopped the session. Dangerous position.
Yes, indeed. I reckon he's hit the
where do we think that is?
That is coming down to turn 16.
Oh, is it?
That's coming down to turn 16, I think. Right over there.
Yeah, you're right.
Yep.
Spot on.
And he's hit this.
He's on the wrong side, the outside, the track side of the pit entry wall. I reckon he's come out of 15 and he's looped it on the curb on the exit of 15 and gone right across the track and made heavy contact with the tyre barrier that protects the pit lane wall.
Unless he's had contact with somebody and hasn't been able to drive the car, because that rear right...
Out of the car.
Yeah, he's out of the car, but he may not... we'll see if we've got a replay for that very shortly. But, yeah, he's out of the car, so it's not drivable by his standards. Otherwise, he would have stayed behind the wheel.
Well, it was Lionel Amarouche who was in the 701, but who was in the other...
The
Vortex. I'm pretty certain I saw Amarouche go across the line, and besides which, actually, I should have remembered that.
No, that car's in Sector 2 at the moment. It hasn't come through Sector 3.
So it is Amarouche,
Yeah, it is Amarouche. It must be Amarouche because he's only in Sector 2 at this time. So that may be the issue, as the driver is safe and well and out of the car.
Under his own steam.
Under his own steam,
yeah.
But it just looked like it wasn't drivable, and obviously to go around as the pits are full at the moment, with everybody in the pits just trying to work out where we are at in regards to the clock.
The sessions.
The
session has been stopped.
5:03.
The clock has been reset to 5:03.
Yep.
So we're not over yet.
They will get an out lap and one flying lap. That's it. That is it.
Yeah. Maybe two if you're really quick.
And what we missed there was the Dynamic Motorsport 158.861 as that all came out.
Marvin Dean's
Yes.
fastest again in that session.
Yeah, exactly.
What a set of qualifying times that Dynamic guys have got. 159.859, 158.862, 158.861.
They in the 991 Porsche 2. It's not the 992, but is running in the GT3 category, not in the 991 or 992 category.
Session will be resumed. We're hearing
exactly. Race control down there, everybody down there to make sure everybody is okay, but the driver has already got the helmet off and he's just going to do the perfunctory trip to the medical centre based here at the back of the pits, not far to travel. We're going to have to recover that car, and it'll be pretty easy because they can back up and just go straight down pit lane. They don't have to circumnavigate the entire circuit, so that will be a fairly quick thing. Shout out to Albin Veruti in 27th position. Car number 710, the Lamborghini Huracan. I raced karts with him very badly back over the kart drome, but just behind the grandstand where we are at the moment. Good to see him back here this weekend for another one. He's been doing, we met down at the Formula One where he does the passenger rides for McLaren.
So the session will be resumed with 5:03. That's exactly that's a bit like the NFL, isn't it?
Yep.
You go, can you reset the game clock to 5:03, please?
Yeah.
Roughing the passer, automatic first down. So this is going to cause a bit of consternation down in the pit lane.
Well, it is. Look at the line.
Having said that, it will also let some temperature bleed out the tyres. Joe Bradley is watching what can only be described as a bit of a traffic jam down in the pit lane at the moment. Joe, what's going on?
Well, I'm at scrutineering, and some of the cars, when they came in off track, were ushered into scrutineering, much to the chagrin of their teams who want this last 5 minutes. However, interestingly, the number 54, that's the Dynamic Motorsport Porsche with Marvin Dean just getting out of the car. Now he's coming back to us. They seem to be happy with what they've done. And now
Well, Joe, that was in fourth position, so that wouldn't have been called in. It's only the top three that get called in for scrutineering.
Well, the 54 have come in, and it was their team ready for it, and they indicated they want the car scrutineering. So the 54.
Well, I'll tell you.
He just set the fastest lap.
Well, I'll tell you why that was, Joe. He just set the fastest lap of any session, 1:58.861 of that session, rather 1:58.861. So
I ain't talk to him then, eh?
Yeah, it wouldn't be a bad idea. I'll keep an eye. I see Mr. Bradley with the binoculars there.
There he goes.
He heads into. Meantime, the clear-up continues down at the short chute between turns 15 and 16, which is the penultimate and final corner. And that looks to have been, well, there's a lot of polystyrene there, but that looks more spectacular than it really is.
Well,
we did see the driver out of that car, thank goodness, Lionel Amarouche.
Yeah, it just looked like the right rear tyre is no longer connected drive-wise or suspension-wise with the rest of the car because of the angle that it's on. So he may have had an impact there.
Yeah, I confused myself there because I was just watching a car going across the line in front of us in the 40s. It had 04 something on it, and in fact it was the KTM Crossbow GTX that went across the line because it's the same colour.
Yeah.
Let's go down to Joe Bradley, who's at scrutineering with the man who was fastest in that session, Marvin Dienst. Looks like that might be good enough for fourth position for Dynamic.
So fourth position right now, Marvin. The scrutineers are happy with what you're wearing and your helmet. But I'm being told that was the quickest time of the session you've just put in.
I don't know yet. I haven't talked to anybody, but I'm happy that it was. Actually, it was not a perfect lap. Had some traffic, and it was already my third flying lap, so the tires were not on their peak anymore. But happy that it was the quickest session lap, and now we have a long race ahead of us.
And with 5 minutes of this session still left, even though we've been red flagged, the team are happy with what's been done. You guys have finished?
Yes, obviously, as I said, the tires, the peak were already done, so nothing for me to improve. I think we can be happy, and now let's focus on the long race ahead.
Thanks, Marvin.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Yeah, just to confirm what Joe was saying there, 1:58.6 was the fastest time in that session, and it was put in by Marvin Dienst. Good enough at the moment for fourth position for the number 54 Porsche from Dynamic Motorsport. They are a couple of tenths ahead of Maro Engel in the Sun Energy Mercedes. Another couple of tenths, or tenth further back, Jean-Baptiste Simonar in the WRT Audi, the number 31. Pretty much on the same time on average as Rick Breukers for Barwell's Lamborghini. So as it stands at the moment, 5:03 on the clock, and we're just waiting for that Vortex to be cleared. It's MS7 by WRT with an average time of 1:58.684, 1:58.978 now in second, Abu Dhabi Racing's Mercedes MG GT3, the number 4 car. Then it is Herbert Motorsport and their remaining number 92 car. A 1:59.182 is their combined time. Anton De Pascali, Repsol supercar driver, will be going out for the last 5 minutes. Then it's that Dynamic Porsche, then the Sun Energy Mercedes, then the WRT Audi, then Barwell and Rick Breukers in the Lamborghini in 7th. And they're all almost on the same time. Daniel de Jong for MP Motorsport right in there as well. And the top 10 made up by CP Racing and Charles Espenlaub in the Mercedes. And in 10th, the second of the Dynamic. So if we were awarding team points, Dynamic get the team award in this qualifying. 2 cars in the top 10, Stefano Monaco due to go out. So that is Audi, Mercedes, Porsche, Mercedes, Audi, Lamborghini, Mercedes, and Porsche in the top 10. In the classes, the best of the AMs, the GT3 Pro-Am, let's do first. That's Daniel de Jong and MP Motorsport. CP Racing are the best GT3 AM. In I keep saying GT2 Pro, 992 Pro. It is GP Elite now with Larry Ten Voorde, who jumped into that team at fairly short notice. Jos Verstappen not being able to make it over as we were hoping. GTX has Lamborghini and Lippert on the top of the timing screens. The 992 AM HRT Performance, the 929 car, Then we've got the GT3 Cup for the 991s, and that's the Willy Motors bought by EB Motors. And then the Aston Martin Vantage for Heart of Racing team for GT4 leads their class. That's how it stands then. 4:24, you heard the siren go off as I was running that down. Maybe 2 laps across the line. And it's a race to find some space as much as it is to get around.
It's the 20 car leading the way from this battle that you can see on screen as they're coming around. We're picturing them coming around turn 9 down onto the back straight. So these cars, that is the second car out there. That's Hubert Hupp in the Abu Dhabi Racing by HRT in the yellow number 4 car. As you can see, the weaving over the track, just trying to get some temperature into the tyres, down into the braking zone at turn 10. Gets really bumpy into here. Don't flat spot a tyre at this early stage. You cannot afford to do that. It's really going to affect what you're going to do for the rest of this. As 3:39 to go, as this is our lead group at the moment, making their way up to turn 12, and Hubert Hupp in the car number 4. The sun just starting to play a little bit of a running into the picture as you're coming through this corner. Have a look at the sun on that left-hand side as you come down towards the apex. It's right in your eye line. You can't see the apex there. You also can't see the flag post that's just behind it. That is a real trap.
So with just 3 minutes to go, let's keep an eye on the timing screen, because we got to keep a very good lookout to see who is doing the sector times. The guys who got out of the pits early are coming round to start their lap now. Hubert Haupt is in the Abu Dhabi Racing by HRT. They are in second at the moment. He needs to find about 0.3 of a second. In fact, Nobar hasn't come out. MS7 haven't come out. So they've stuck. They're sitting on 19 at the moment, and they've said, thanks very much, we'll keep the cards we've got. Hubert Haupt and Abu Dhabi Racing have gone for one more lap, and they've got a car ahead of them that might just give them a little bit of a draft down the long straight.
He may get around, and he'll get 2 push laps in this. He'll get there. He'll get another push lap.
And right ahead of him, actually, it's not going to help him. I don't think, is it the car? I think no, it's Mauro Engel.
It's Mauro Engel.
It's the Sun Energy 1, so that might help him. Engel will be quick in a similar car. So the yellow and blue of the Bilstein sponsored number 4, and right ahead is the metallic gold of Sun Energy 1, and they're on the back straight now.
Yep, and so there it is, Mauro Engel. You can see his name, you can see the position. Great for these straight-on shots, but it's all about what Hubert Hupp can do, because as John said, the MS7 by WRT car has not come out. They're going to get 2 push laps here, and this is absolutely crucial for how it's going to be. But nobody's improving at the moment. That's what I see on the timing screens. Nobody's going quicker than they should. I'm not seeing purple or green sectors at the moment, because they've got to get the tyres a bit more up to temperature. But I think they will get, with 1:12 to go, and they're coming down to turn 14 now, they will get this lap and one more with 1 minute on the clock. They will get 1 flying lap at this. I think everybody's just working out. Lucas Stoltz just does the purple sector 2 and proves to be absolutely 100% wrong. As they all come around, pile around turn 16 now. It's a train going down the start-finish lane. 49 to go. This is it. This is for pole position. Hubert Haupt.
Anton De Pascali has just done his best sector 2, but nobody else has improved.
That's the thing.
So it's Mauro Engel from Hubert Haupt down to turn 1, the Sun Energy 1 with the flames on the front of that metallic gold. Sitting in behind them is another AMG. I think that's the 777 of Lucas Stoltz. It is.
Yes, indeed.
The purple and white car. So that's a train of
1, 2, 3. with 2, 3 out there, and
so it's 6th, 2nd, and 3rd in that order.
Yeah.
As Stoltz is keeping a respectful distance as they come down through 5 into 6. Who all gets a bit of a slide on at the back, because Hankook's being tortured by Lucas Stoltz. Meantime,
he's just done the fastest lap, a 58.620 on that lap.
So
he improved. Anton De Pascali's dropped a position down into 4th.
Correct. And now we've got a 58.6, a 58.9, and a 59 flat. in terms of the averages, and Lucas Stoltz, the man on the move. And he's got a really good draft here. Unfortunately, he's in behind the Pro Sport Racing Aston Martin of Guillaume Dumarie, and that might just cause him to have to lose a wee bit of time here. Guillaume, and I'm not being at all disrespectful, but Luca is a quicker driver than Guillaume. Round turn 12 at the top of the hill. Who else is in? Well, it's another quick sector one for Lucas Stoltz. He's got the advantage of a little bit of a tour from the Aston Martin. Now, can he make a pass so that he doesn't get slowed down in the last couple of corners of the lap? He goes out wide into turn number 14 and cuts back. Now the Aston's costing him time. Checkered flag is out. Through Stefano Monaco, sees it first for Dynamic. They're 12th at the moment. Final corner for Stoltz. This is the run to the line. He tries to get up the inside and get on the power early. He wasn't quick enough in that middle sector, I don't think. Stoltz to the line does not improve. It's going to be MS7 by WRT. Phil Hansen's pick here in the Haggerty Global Broadcast Centre, who will take pole position for the 2022 Hankook 24 Hours of Dubai. From Abu Dhabi Racing by HRT and Al Manar Racing by HRT in third position, courtesy of a stonking lap from Stoltz.
Indeed, Anton De Pascali was going quicker, but he boxed, and second row of the grid is fine for the Herbert Motorsport team in their Porsche 911 GT3R. But yeah.
Well, that was Stoltz jumping up from outside the top four into third. That means Marvin Dinks goes down into fifth with Dynamic Motorsport. Maro Engel did nicely, didn't quite improve. He had some good sectors, but couldn't string a lap together in that last 5-minute resumption. So Sun Energy by Sun Energy 1 by SPF will start in sixth for number 75. Barwell is the first non-German manufacturer with the Lamborghini. If you look closely, there'll be some four rings in that car somewhere. Notably on the gearbox casing.
Yes.
The Lamborghini Huracan for Barwell and Rick Boyd. Oh, no, and as I say that, there's been an improvement by Jean-Baptiste Simonard with a 1:59.6 on that final lap.
Wow.
He's moved up to seventh position for WRT. So WRT up to seventh, right at the death. Barwell in eighth. MP Motorsport in ninth. Attempto Racing up to 10th. Luca Engstler improving. MP, Attempto and WRT, they're all sorting themselves out with a better run. Just outside the top 10 in a very creditable 11th is the first of the AM cars. That's Charles Espinel for CP
That's a very,
Racing.
very good position for that car.
Very good indeed.
Very good.
They'll be very happy with that. Other leaders inside the top 30, did it again, 992 Pro. Team GP Elite was the team to beat. That's what we heard Jerome Blakemoreland say from redcameljordan.nl. Larry Tenvorder in at the end, and they are on pole in 992 Pro from Red Camel Jordan in second, and ID Racing Christopher Zirkling, another Super Cup driver in that car. Well, that is a Super Cup car, of course. In the 992 Huber Racing will be on pole from HRT Performance, and in third place FAC Auto Tech. 991 category, it is Villy Motors by AB Motors, 41st overall, but on pole position there. GT4, Aston Martin, first and second, with Pro Sport nicking it at the end there. Heart of Racing had held that for a while, but by 5/1000ths of a second, 5 milliseconds on average between Pro Sport and Heart of Racing. Ian James, who finished that off for Heart of Racing team, will be gutted by that. Third place is a Mercedes GT4, and that's the class leaders as far as we're concerned. Let's go to Joe Bradley, who is with CP Racing. They have finished 11th, and GT3 AM pole position, subject to post-race scrutineering, of course, post-qualifying scrutineering. Joe Bradley is with the number 85 team, and Shane Lewis.
And Shane Lewis being ever the professional, making sure he's zipped up, look. And he's getting the right badges on. That one goes there. Let me get that one for you. And that one goes there. Right, we're ready.
We're ready.
So you're on the class pole. Pro-Am pole position for you guys?
It's awesome, man. We're so excited. You know, we came here and we've just been kind of a little bit at a time. Every practice session, come here. My first time into the car all day today was qualifying. So these guys did an awesome job of setting it up. CP Racing, they're just amazing. Love this Mercedes. 24-hour Dubai has become one of my favorite events ever. So to be on the pole and AM, it's everybody here is a team. You know, I'm just a small part of it. This great team and surely excited.
Congratulations, Shin. So far, so good.
So far, so good. Let's bring it on to the finish now, right?
Shane Lewis then for the CP Racing team. Let's remind ourselves of what was an action-packed session in all of the right ways, Phil, to be honest. Yeah, there was a wee bit of an incident that gave us the red flag, but I think that looks fixable. But what we had at the front were two local teams, three local teams really, battling it out. Here's the highlights. Did enough for pole position. So, night practice coming up in just on 1 hour's time. Just a little bit over that. So, time for you to take a breath, maybe make yourself a sandwich or perhaps something more substantial, depending on what time of day it is. Put the kettle on for a cup of tea, or indeed something a little more appropriate if it is later in the day. From Phil and me, John Hindhaugh in the Haggerty Global Broadcast Centre, Nick and Joe down in the pits. Bye for now. See you in an hour.